Hey guys, welcome back to some more Battlefield 6 news. Our data miner Temporal has been busy again data mining stuff from the latest Battlefield Labs client, and we also got some more details to Spectator Mode, Portal, new game modes and customization for the new Battlefield game. So we're gonna look through all of this here in the video, and we're gonna start with the weapons, because Temporal has published a full weapons list of 52 weapons in total. I'm going to show you everything right here. So we have a lot of assault rifles, carbines, PDWs, then LMGs, shotguns, DMRs, bolt action rifles and secondaries. And there are a lot of weapons that should be familiar to Battlefield players. So we have the G36, for example, the G3, but in the A4 version instead of the A3. We have the Scar L, we have the QBC, the P90, the MP5, or at the sniper rifles we have the SV98M, which is a rifle that I actually love to see in the new Battlefield game. And for the DMRs we also have the M93 EMR that we also had in Battlefield 2042 already, or the SVD. So quite a few weapons that should be well known. And for the most part, we've known about these weapons already, but Temporal says that there were new additions with the latest update, and these are the Type 20 assault rifle, the minifix, and the DP12 shotgun. And what was also added are 2 original weapons. So these are not modeled from real-life weapons, but are instead original to the game, and it seems like they are also tied to the lore of the new Battlefield game. And these are called the SL9, which is a PDW, and the LMR27, which is a DMR. But Temporal also writes that with the latest update, most of the weapons were renamed with fictional names. And he also has a short list here of a few examples that he points out. So we have the G36 that will be named B36A4, for example, or the, let's say, XM7 that will be the X277, or the Vector that will be called KV9. So it seems like, again, DICE is not going with the real life names for these weapons for whatever reason. Maybe they also want to have a bit more freedom in designing them. And what's also important, and what Temporal just wrote in a comment to a question on his post, is that we might not see all of these 52 weapons at launch, because he writes that some seem connected to Season 1. So I'm guessing that we might see, I think, 48 of those weapons at launch, and then 4 will be tied to Season 1, at least when they're going with the same content that we had in Battlefield 2042, or a similar amount of content that we had in 2042. But even if it's only 48 weapons at launch, that's more than double the amount that we had in Battlefield 2042, so I think this would be quite satisfying. Moving on, there was also a question on one of Temporal's posts about news on a Spectator Mode for the new Battlefield game. And here Temporal writes that he's not sure about this, and that he did find references here and there for Spectator Mode, but we have to keep in mind that similar functionalities might be tied to gameplay. For example, certain modes in Portal or the Battle Royale mode. So he's not 100% sure if we will see a Spectator Mode this time around or not, or maybe only as a modifier in Portal and not in the main game. And to be honest, for me as a content creator, I always love to have a Spectator Mode or a photo mode in games, because it makes it so much simpler to record some clips you want to record, or to take screenshots for thumbnails. And if it's not for giving the community more creative freedom, then it would definitely be useful to identify cheaters, because that's how you could easily identify cheaters in Battlefield 1 and 5. So I'm hoping that this will return if it's not in the game yet. And while we're talking about Portal already, Temporal also wrote something interesting about Portal. We know that Portal will return with the next Battlefield game. This was confirmed by Flagfire in one of his videos a while ago already. And to question how the mode or how Portal will work this time around, Temporal says that he doesn't think there is a specific focus on classic maps this time, but he would also be surprised if the next version isn't enabling players to create their own custom experiences. And based on the available data, you can even set up your own Battle Royale experiences with specific mutators and an AI backfill option. So it's a bit vague here what Temporal is writing, but it seems like that he's suspecting Portal to work in a bit different way than it does in Battlefield 2042. But what I think is interesting is that this time around we will be able to actually create our own Battle Royale experiences, which was not possible in Portal, in the Portal 1.0 or the 2042 version of Portal, and that we will even be able to modify this. So maybe they even extend this and give us more options to create our own experiences. And then we got an interesting data mine by Venick, which is also a data miner but more active on Discord than he is over on Twitter. And he has data mined 2 new modes for Battlefield 6. And the first mode is called Strike Point, and here it says fight the enemy across multiple small-scale engagements to control an objective. You only have 1 life per round. Win a round by securing the objective or occupying the objective area for longer than the enemy when the round ends. Eliminating the enemy team can also secure round victory. First team to secure a majority of rounds wins. And from reading this description, I would say that it's pretty similar to the HQ mode that we have in Call of Duty, so that there is one objective and this always pops up on random locations around the map, and you have to hold it for a longer amount of time than the enemy team in order to win the match. At least that's what it sounds like, that this might be the Battlefield version of this mode. And then the second mode is called Raid, and here it says engage in all-out warfare as you combat hostile forces to lock down objectives and take control of territory. Control more objectives than the enemy to advance your lockdown progress. Complete your lockdown progress before the enemy to lock down objectives and convert them into friendly HQs. Capture progress on all objectives will reset after a lockdown. First team to lock down 3 objectives wins. Sounds like an interesting mode though, maybe even something that could be interesting for tournaments. And lastly, we also got just a screenshot as a leak, and I'm just gonna include this real quick at the end, because it seems like weapon charms will definitely return in the next Battlefield game, and they pretty much look like they do in Battlefield 2042. But I'm not quite sure if what is shown in this leak is only placeholders from Battlefield 2042, so the actual design might change, but it seems like weapon charms definitely return. And that was it for today, just all the latest news around Battlefield 6. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm the Catwoman, and you are awesome.